folks, and welcome back to Around Our World in 80. So today we're going to be launching a series of videos that I'm actually really excited about. Like, I'm going to try to contain myself. We're actually going to Disney for Ray's first birthday. And it's something that I've been wanting to do basically since I found out that we were pregnant. I was like, what is baby girl's first trip going to look like? And I really wanted to do it to celebrate her first birthday, and we just booked it.
Because what better way to celebrate than something she'll not remember but still costs a lot of money?
It's totally mostly about me, let's just be honest. But one of the things that I thought was really entertaining and just tells you a little bit about my friends was one of their first questions was, what is her first Disney movie going to be? And how are you going to introduce all of these Disney movies to her? Which means my friends are just the best. But it actually is something that I have thought about. And so when we finally booked it, I was like, okay, we have like 40 something weeks. And we went through and chose 40 different movies, which there's actually a lot more movies that we wanted to watch than were weeks, which I was not expecting. Original
That's
list
the royal
was like
we,
80.
all right. So
But we came down to 40 different movies. We're probably going to have to skip a couple weeks because we already know we're going to have trips or something like that planned. But we figured we would start with the very first one, Snow White. Snow White was a really important movie because it was the very first full-length animated feature ever. Like, people actually thought that if you had an animated something or other longer than 8 minutes, it would actually hurt your brain to watch it.
Don't look at me for history lessons. I know it was the first one, and that's all you get from me.
And so a lot of people actually were calling it Disney's Folly, because they thought he had gone into so much debt and it was just going to flop and nobody was going to come watch it. But it ended up being one of the most watched films ever for that era. And they ended up having like $2 million in profit, which they then invested right again into. For that day,
it was huge
amount. And they invested right into the next feature film and went back into debt. But anyway, so I haven't watched Snow White in forever. Had you watched Snow White in forever?
I don't know if I'd ever watched it in full length in any one sitting before, to be honest.
But I loved it.
You see, I washed them both today and I can't do nothing with them.
Reagan. And it was so interesting to me how the storyline was so much simpler, but they went into a lot more detail on like the songs.
Spent 10 minutes on washing it in their hands.
Yeah, I know. Which I have to say is a really catchy song for teaching kids how to wash up. It's very catchy. But I just loved the detail and the simplicity, and I mean, the music's beautiful too. But the whole point of this is not only are we wanting to just watch the movies, but we were actually going to incorporate like different family activities every week so that we had something to do, all three of us, leading up to our trip. So you'll notice today I'm Disneybounding. So I have on a blue dress with a red cape-ish shawl. And then I got myself a little yellow headband for her yellow dress because I don't have a yellow skirt. But this is something that's referred to as Disneybounding. I'll link to a video that explains it a little bit more in depth. But I would be Disneybounding my outfits, and then we're going to basically be Disneybounding our life as we do different family activities together based on the movies.
So to expound a little farther, the activities we kind of broke up into a few different things. So she's going to do some kind of
Disneybound outfit.
Disneybound / play dress up every week. That kind of coincides with the video. And then we had 3 different categories. So there was like a family activity, there was a date night activity, or there was a service act, right? And so each one of the weeks we're going to pick one. We came up with something for pretty much all of those for all the movies, except for service act. That one was a little more difficult. But we're going to pick at least one of those things every week, and that's going to be our either family activity or date night for that week.
Yeah.
And it will coincide loosely with each video that we watch for that week.
Yes. And this week we decided that we were going to make a bird feeder because Snow White has a bunch of bird friends that coincidentally also help her with all the house chores. That would be really nice
We
if
need
I
some of
had
these
birds
birds.
that helped with the house chores. But Jared actually went into the garage and took some wood from a tree that I had actually fallen last year from a big storm in our yard, and he made a bird feeder out of it.
With the magic of editing, poof.
Baby! She's getting cold and antsy.
So as Maddie mentioned, we had a tree that got split in half really from a storm that we had a while back, and when I cut it up with a chainsaw, I kept some of the bigger chunks of wood and made some slices out of them. I was going to originally use them as like platters for on a dinner table or something like that, and then like a little cake stand or something, and just never really got around to making anything with them.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about making a bird feeder, and I was browsing through some ideas, and originally I was going to take some what I had and plane it down and make a little kind of plexiglass sided bird feeder with some cedar wood or something. But then we saw this idea to use mason jars for a bird feeder with a log. I thought that was kind of a cool idea, and I was like, oh man, I have this wood I haven't used in a long time, so I'm going to do that, and then maybe you can do one of the other ones later. And after some trial and error of trying to get the wood shaped the way I wanted it to, it wasn't working. I eventually ended up having to pull the chainsaw back out and use that to shape the top piece, and then a little bit of creativity with my table saw to create the bottom of it. But got it all shaped how I wanted it, drilled the holes I needed for it, cut the rope, got it all put together, and I think it turned out pretty cool.
I think it turned out pretty awesome too.
We got some inspiration from Pinterest, but a lot of the ideas and stuff that we did on it, we kind of added a few things, changed the way a few things were done on it, and I think it turned out really well. All right, so what are we wearing today?
So
Chanel.
No. If you want to get specific, it's milk nurse wear. After watching the movie last night, I thought about the Evil Queen and how she has the purple gown. So I got my purple shirt on with some black leggings. And then I have a yellow headband on, like she has her crown. So, ta-da, crown.
Right.
And then Reagan is being the little heart box. So she has her heart onesie on.
It's not morbid at all.
No, never. But she looks really cute. Okay, we're all here. And we're gonna put our birdhouse, or bird feeder together. Yeah, we are. Are you excited? That's an excited face. Oh, yeah.
So we're just gonna attach our lids.
Actually drilling it into the metal.
Yep.
So you're like putting the screws in the lid before you actually screw it into the wood so they don't fall out.
And it just makes it a lot easier when you can manipulate the lid to an angle that works better for you. Had to figure out which holes go into which one. I got it on the first try.
Nice.
Look at me go.
Tomorrow we'll actually fill these up. Do you have something to say, little
Still
Missy?
difficult.
Do you have something to say, little Missy?
Yeah.
Hey! That looks pretty darn awesome. Ready to go put it out in the backyard? Let's do it! Are you ready to put up our bird feeder? Are you ready to put up our bird feeder? Yeah?